What's the matter, Stray? Nothing left to lose? Well, would you look at that? Fascinating. Will you join me, starving wolf?
On that day, a young cub was taken from the battlefield. He trained relentlessly, and indeed, went on to become a master shinobi.
Well, it's 2024. With Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree's release, players have flocked back to the Fromsoftware games in preparation for the DLC, and have perhaps like me, replayed some of their favourite games. In my case, this happens to be Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Fromsoftware's standalone title releasing back in 2019. This was my first Fromsoftware game and was my first proper exposure to what I feel is true difficulty in games. But I think we're all aware of the sheer difficulty that comes from these games, so that's not really what this video is about. When replaying Sekiro, I found myself pondering the reasons as to why I declared this game my personal favourite, and decided what better way than to make a video. So, just what really makes Sekiro so special? Now I think it goes without saying, but I believe Sekiro is one of the best stories in the FromSoftware series, and I don't say this lightly. The series as a whole has produced some countless expansive worlds and lore galore, but to me, Sekiro takes the cake in its overall plot. I mean, for starters, this game changed the status quo for the series and doesn't let us make our own character. For many, this initially came across as disappointing. You know what better way is there to beat a boss than in my full Shrek cosplay? But no, instead we play Sekiro, also known as Wolf, a shinobi who is placed in charge of protecting the divine heir, Kuro, a boy blessed with immortality through his family's bloodline. Wolf, as a character to begin with, is pretty empty. He's mostly a vessel for the player to experience this journey, but it's really through the player's own choices that we get to develop the character of Wolf as we play for ourselves. Naturally, I mention this because depending on our choices, Wolf and his ambitions change drastically as we progress, ultimately affecting his development. But what we know for sure is simple. Wolf is a composed shinobi who isn't afraid to be ruthless to complete his mission. He is dedicated to his cause and will kill anyone who obstructs him of that. What I mostly enjoyed when playing as Wolf was what it meant for NPC interactions. Going into this, Wolf already has established connections with quite a few NPCs, and as a result, it really helped create more impactful moments throughout the story. In other FromSoftware games, we normally play our own silent protagonist, exploring and dying all the same, with nothing but headcanon to really develop our own character stories. But with Sekiro, I feel this is quite different. The biggest example of this is with Wolf's father and mentor, the Shinobi Owl, an old yet imposing figure who stumbles across Wolf on the battlefield, a lost orphan with no regard for his own life. Owl sees potential in Wolf and takes him in under his wing, raising Wolf and teaching him in the way of the shinobi and his self-enforced iron code. Later on in the story, we discover that Owl has sinister intentions of his own, and in a sick obsession with immortality and dwindling age, seeks Kuro in an attempt to gain immortality for himself. The game from this point prompts us with an important choice, to obey the iron code and kill Kuro, or to disobey Owl. Not only does this lead to some of the coldest cutscenes in the game, but narratively it is something that hasn't been done before in the FromSoftware games. In true Star Wars fashion, to face your own father, interlocking blades with the man who taught you the blade in the first place? Speaking of cutscenes, can we talk about the visuals? This game looks fucking amazing. From general gameplay and cutscenes, this game has aged wonderfully. Like, look at this! And this! But I'm getting sidetracked. Aside from now, there are plenty more NPCs in this game that are also very well executed, like the Sculptor, Emma, and not forgetting Kuro. From start to finish, the two share a particular bond that only grows as the story progresses. Well, you know, if you're not going for the surer ending. We get to see Wolf's devotion to Kuro firsthand, from being his bodyguard to his loyal friend, acting not simply from orders but also acting out of the genuine care for Kuro and his future. This is showcased best through the purification ending, in which Wolf directly disobeys his master's orders to kill him and sacrifices himself instead to purify Kuro's immortality, granting him the normal life he deserved from the start. A tragic yet tremendous journey for a protagonist, finally finding meaning that was missing in his life. To save someone else. But sappy shit aside, I think it's time we talked about the second aspect that I enjoyed the most from this game: combat. Combat in Sekiro is clean as fuck. It's plain and simple. Every fight feels like a complex dance between you and the boss, and the biggest complementing factor to this is parrying. This is Fromsoftware's substitute to the standard rolling mechanic typically utilised in their games. Instead of relying on iframes, this feature blocks damage from enemies and deals additional posture damage on hit, and dealing enough posture damage leads to a death blow. Simply put, a death blow will appear when you either sneak up on an enemy undetected, or you deal enough posture damage to trigger the death blow state. Not only is it powerful when used effectively, but also provides for some epic cinematics when fighting bosses, with each boss prompting you to perform a death blow when reducing their health to 0. These death blows not only have a unique animation for each boss you face, but it makes you feel so badass when you finally defeat that one boss you just could not beat. Yeah, fuck you, Headless Ape. That's what you get for throwing your shit at me. Yes, literal shit.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Asshole. Anyways, I think you get the point. Combat in this game can be pretty enjoyable and satisfying when used correctly, and as a result really stands out to me when comparing Sekiro to its competitors. But I think that lastly, it would only make sense to take into account my own personal bias towards Sekiro by talking about my own experience when playing this game, and how it cements why this game is so special to me. As stated before, Sekiro was my first experience into the world of Fromsoftware. This game really showed me what putting into practice meant for games, and one of my favourite pastimes is re-exploring this game and just seeing how far I've come personally in my gaming journey. Destroying bosses who once caused me so much trouble, I think one notable story is my own personal battle with the Demon of Hatred. Back when I played this game for the first time, I just couldn't beat the Demon of Hatred. I would bitch and moan all I wanted to, but I just never got anywhere with this boss. It got to the point where I reached my breaking point, and I cheesed it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I know, I'm a changed man, I swear. But for real, I saw cheesing this boss as the only way to get past it. I watched videos and performed some magic fuckery to trick the boss into falling into the abyss, and well, it didn't feel good. Ever since I felt pretty ashamed with the outcome, but just never had the strength to go back. This time, however, I had a different plan. When replaying this game, I decided to face this monster once and for all, and put an end to the shame that plagued my gaming career. And I did it. The relief that washed over me when I finally defeated this boss was unreal. And the boss wasn't even that hard. I think this was one of the biggest benchmarks I had when replaying this game, and really went to show me just how far I have come in my Fromsoftware journey. And it meant a lot. Overall, Sekiro to me felt impactful, not only from its deep and powerful story, but its own personal effect it had on me, and my personal journey in gaming. Facing tougher and tougher challenges, also that I could go back to this game and showcase these skills. And I will forever be grateful for this game introducing me to Fromsoftware. Let's hope replaying this game in some way has trained me enough to face Shadow of the Erdtree, but let's be real, it's not, is it? Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you couldn't tell from some of this video's jank, this is my first ever video and was quite a journey to produce. I mean, I had to learn editing and everything, but anyways. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to subscribe in case I upload a deep dive again. But don't feel pressured, getting to this point in the video is enough for me and really means a lot, so thanks. Regardless, if you miss my beautiful Alvin and the Chipmunk ass of a voice, feel free to listen to the Chillin' podcast on this channel and all other podcast platforms. That being said, I think it's time I get to Elden Ring. See you around.